What's up, everybody? It's Mian, and I am back with another live stream. Um, I got a TV today, got my PS5 set up because I got one for Christmas, and so I'm waiting for NBA 2K24 to finish uploading or updating because it's going to take like 4 hours. So I figured to kill time, and because I was already planning on doing this, why don't I come on stream and talk to you guys about my year as an independent wrestling fan? Because I did go to a couple of WWE things. I went to 2 house shows and NXT Battleground, which was a lot of fun, but I wanted to make this stream specifically about independent wrestling, in relation to the matches I've seen, the promotions I've been to, my favorite matches that I got to see in person, um, the talent that I've seen this year. And mind you, this is all coming before this is all coming before Restival. I'm gonna be at 4 shows during Restival. Thursday night, Wrestling Open, and then all day Sunday, Rad Pro, Blitzkrieg Pro, and Beyond Wrestling. There are gonna be matches, most likely, from all 4 shows that will end up on this favorites list. Um, so the list that I have, it's gonna end up getting changed. And I might, discuss that probably in a video rather than a stream in the future, probably after the new year. Um, but with that being said, I want to get a couple of other things out of the way first. First and foremost, today is the 3-year anniversary of the passing of one Brody Lee, so rest in peace. Um, Secondly, I am working on the next installment of the Monster Jam World Finals Freestyle Rescoring Series, currently up to World Final 16, I believe. So stay tuned for that. I will have that up whenever I can. I was working on it a bit last night. And yeah, there will be another stream later this week, actually Saturday night. Saturday night, I'm going to go live to discuss all 3 shows that I'm going to be at on Sunday. So I might touch on a bit of Wrestling Open tonight as well, or today as well. But yeah. So there's gonna be a stream on Saturday night, regarding all 3 shows for Restival on Sunday. And with all of that being said, let's now go ahead and jump into 2023, the year that was for me as an independent wrestling fan. Now, I've told this story multiple times, and I'm going to keep telling it because it is genuinely honest, right? So, honest to God, going into this year, I didn't really have much of a thought of going to independent wrestling shows. I didn't know what the hell was around. I'd only been to one wrestling show ever, which was SmackDown last year in Worcester, the SmackDown season premiere, which was a lot of fun, of course. And so, I'm at work. I work at Walmart, cashier, self checkout, all that fun stuff. So I'm at Walmart. I'm on self checkout, and Herbie Wackerman, who is a huge part of Blitzkrieg Pro. He's a wrestler. He's from Brattleboro, just over the border from me. He helps with Blitzkrieg Pro. He wrestles for them. Um, he was wearing an NWO shirt. So I complimented him on that, and we got to talking, and he mentions Blitzkrieg Pro. Now, there was a little bit of confusion at first as to exactly who he was, because I ended up finding Blitzkrieg Pro's Twitter, and I DM'd them, and I messaged him, hey, I met this guy, and da-da-da-da-da. So there was a little confusion, but then we figured out, or I got to figure out who he was and all this other stuff. And the thing that Kirby was telling me about was that they were getting a show put together right in Brattleboro. And so I ended up going. Got a ticket. I went. They had like a couple of front row seats left, so I got one. Um, and as they say, the rest is history. That was my first independent wrestling show that I'd ever been to. It was a lot of fun. Why the fuck is the Come on. Seriously? Hold on. Why is my camera frozen on my end? Why? 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 Okay. Oh, great. Okay. My camera is fucking frozen. Awesome. Fucking hell. From it because I'm looking at it on YouTube. Hold on a minute. All right. So, fuck, what do I want to do here? Um, Hang on a second. I will be right back. All right, we're back. Okay. All right. So I just left the studio, restarted the laptop, and I'm back. So hopefully this doesn't happen again. Hopefully. All right. So I'm going to send the message out on Twitter real quick. Give me one moment. Okay. There we go. All right. So we're back. I apologize for that. It's this weird thing where it just freezes and then the mouse stops working. Like it just doesn't move. So, you know, I've had this happen before and I've ended the stream and then redone done a new one. I just figured I'd try leaving the studio, restarting the laptop, and then joining back in. That worked. So good to know that for the future. And let's go ahead and let's get back into what I was talking about. So as I was saying again, I met Kirby at work. I found out who he was, found out about Blitzkrieg Pro, and I went to their. It wasn't their first overall show. They had done shows in the past, but this was the first show that they had done in Brattleboro, Vermont. And I went almost right after work, um, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the fucking hell out of it. Um, I got to see I got to see Allie Catch against Vita Von Star, two incredible women on the independents. Obviously, Allie, being linked with Effie a lot. And Vita, has championships in a couple of places. Um, and we'll get back to her later as well. But overall, I got to see that. I got to meet a bunch of wrestlers, got a bunch of pictures, all this fun stuff, and it was a lot of fun. So then, of course, the question is, well, what's the next one? Well, Fight Life had a show down in Connecticut, and I saw it come up on my Twitter feed, and I'm thinking to myself, do I go? I'm looking at travel time and all this other stuff, but you had people like Masha Slamovich there, or Slamovich, and whatnot. And so I said, fuck it. And I went. And I think, honestly, Blitzkrieg Pro was what got me into wanting to go to independent wrestling shows. Fight Life was what made me keep going because that show was on another level. Um, and I've been to a lot of different shows this year. Um, I actually responded to somebody in a tweet about this, about how many shows I've been to. Give me 1 second so I can find it. Um, Give me one moment. There we go. Okay. So overall this year, I have been to 6 Blitzkrieg Pro shows, 3 Fight Lives, 3 Wrestling Opens, 2 Beyond Wrestling, 1 Pro Wrestling Grind, 1 Catalyst Wrestling, and 1 GCW event for 17 total shows. I have seen a lot of matches, and if my friend Desiree was here, she would be like, well, you multiply that by this much, and that's how many I've been to because she travels fucking everywhere. Um, I've had so much fun going to these shows and having fun. And anybody that's seen me at one of these shows knows I get hype, I get loud, I have a great time, and that's how it should be. And that's another thing that I want to mention real quick is talking to wrestlers, whether it's in person or at the shows or on Twitter, and hearing from them that they like or if not love seeing the energy that I bring and that that's the type of thing that they want to see out of fans. They want to see that energy. They want to see high energy, high engagement, you know, and all that. Like that means a lot to me. Like I try to be as humble as possible in a lot of areas of life because of the fact of that I mean, look at where I am right now. We're nearing the end of 2023. We're almost there. I have over 1,000 subscribers on this channel. I have so many fucking followers on Twitter. A lot of, a bunch of them being wrestlers and other people like that. I never expected any of this ever. So I can't thank y'all enough. And to have this recognition from wrestlers, this appreciation and whatnot, it means the world to me, man. It really does. And I cannot stress that enough. So again, I've been to 17 different indie shows this year. Obviously, the goal in 2024 is to hopefully go to more. And I can already tell you, there's a Beyond Wrestling Super Show, I believe, next month. It's either in January or February, or I think they have one's in January, the other's in February, I think, or one's in February, one's in March. It's either or. The first of the two, I've already gotten my ticket for. Blitzkrieg Pro has announced a show, I believe, for next month that I'm planning on going to. And I think some of the other shows I want to get to, I want to get down to Pro Wrestling Grind, like at their home base, because the show that I went to for them was at RPM Fest. I want to go to their home base and I want to see a show at Pulaski. I like to go there. Obviously, Fight Life when they come back to Connecticut, I'll be going there. And just trying to go wherever. And and I've said this already, and I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna have a binder with loads of pictures that I've gotten with talent because I try to get pictures with everybody. If I've gotten a picture with you before, I'm gonna get another one if I can because one, I have a very, very bad tendency of having pictures end up blurry because I try to take selfies with one hand. I need to start taking them with two or have people take pictures for me. But also because it's documentation. It's documentation of all these events that I've been to, and trying to and just and something to look back on. Especially because you look at these pictures and people change over time, with gimmicks or just their wrestling style and all this other stuff. So it's nice to sort of keep up that way. Now, speaking of that, because I have indeed seen a shitload of people. I've done the math. I have it right here. um, so here's the thing with my list, and I've ranked everybody based on how many times I've seen them. Um, the last group, which is basically everybody that I've seen once, is a multi-person tie for like 95th overall. Um, I have seen exactly 200 people, and that's between wrestlers and managers. Um, Now, when I did this, as I'm looking back through every show, there are times where wrestlers showed up that didn't wrestle that night or was supposed to wrestle that night. For example, Kirby was supposed to wrestle um, at the Blitzkrieg Pro Luau, but he ended up, I think, DMing me during the show that night because I tweeted I was wondering what happened because he wasn't in the match. And he messaged me and said that he had to go take care of something back home, and he had just gotten back, so there was no chance. So there's that. There were some wrestlers that appeared during the wedding at Beyond Wrestling America Rana, so I counted them as well. Stuff like that, little things. Um, so it's a wild list, man. It's crazy. Um, and again, just a lot. Just having just it, it's incredible seeing so many people. And the thing is across the 4 shows that I'm going to for Restival, there are people on this list that I'm going to get to see again. Some of them more than once, depending on across each show. So this list is gonna change again, when all is said and done. Um, you know, uh, yeah. So as far as the list goes, number one, and I'm gonna do them together. Number one and number two, Dustin Waller and Kylon King, the Miracle Generation. I have seen Dustin 12 times and Kylon 11. Kind of weird how there's that little discrepancy where I've seen one more times than the other, barely. Um, but that's just how it rolls, man. And again, my math might be slightly off in some places. I don't think it is. Because again, I upload like entrances for everybody, or try to at least. So, because that I can do that, and then that's another thing that I've learned. Um, if you go back to the first few shows I went to, I was uploading matches, the full freaking things. Now, of course, I've talked about before in my community tab. Um, I think it's been 3 promotions or people affiliated with promotions that have DM'd me asking me to take stuff down, which I have. I'm not going to argue about it. I remember when I talked to Leary at one of the last two. Leary's, I think, the guy the one that runs Blitzkrieg Pro. I talked to him at one of the last 2 Blitzkrieg Pro shows, before Restival, and to because I had questions about that, and he told me how a lot of it is, you know a lot of what it boils down to is money, because the matches, they get filmed by Fight TV. Well, that's becoming Triller TV now, IWTV, stuff like that. Um, Promotions will upload stuff to their own YouTube channels, and it's more so bringing eyes to it and bringing eyes to them. And I've always said I'm never trying to take nothing away from nobody. I'm just a guy out here having fun, enjoying matches, enjoying seeing this stuff. And my opinion has always been when I've uploaded stuff is that I do it, one, for my own enjoyment, and also for the enjoyment of others who may not be able to subscribe to Fight TV or IWTV or otherwise. They just don't have that kind of money to do that on a monthly basis or a yearly basis. But again, I've complied. There is stuff still up on my channel, and that's just matches from earlier in the year. I'm gonna leave those, and if I ever get told to take them down, I will. But I'm gonna leave them, and I just upload entrances these days. But yeah, getting back to the list again: Dustin at number one, Kylon in second, 12 and 11 respectively, and then you have Shook Crew, Bobby Orlando, and Bryce Donovan tied at third overall with 10 meetups or 10 sites. Sorry, grammar, with 10, I guess, viewings, I guess, each. Um, Ichiban and Alec Price are tied for fifth with 9 apiece. Sammy Diaz sits alone in seventh with 8. Jay George and Marcus Mathers are tied for eighth with 7. And in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-way tie for 10th, CPA, Delightful Dan the Goddamn Candyman, Kirby Wackerman, Logan Black, Richard Holiday, and Masha Slamovich, 6 appearances each. And going down the list, you have. I'm not even going to try to count how many people are tied for certain spots. Tied for 16th is Haven, Jay Onyx, and Sean Knight, Leary, Angelo Carter, Lucas Chase, Andy Brown, Charlie Tiger, Ellis Taylor, Jordan Oliver, TJ Crawford, Nick Robles, and Danny Miles at 5 apiece. Tied for 28th is 50 Cal, Ryan Clancy, Love Doug, Skyler, Brad Hollister, Dante Drago, the Even Stevens, Steven Azura, Steve Somerset, Ryan Mooney, Perry Von Vicious, Rip Bison, RJ Rude, Ken Powers, Abs. Actually, sorry, scratch that. 50 Cal to Drago is tied for 28th at 4 apiece. From Azure all the way down to Jesus Christ, all the way down to Trayvon Jordan and Jalen Brandon, which is Waves and Girls, and also including Mortar, Kennedy Copeland, Quezi Asante, Jimmy Lloyd, Desmond Cole, Sidney Bacabella, Channing Thomas, Haley Dillon, Ray Jazz, Gabriel Sky, Ricky Smokes, Jay Lyon, Ringleader Midas, Rex Lawless, Dunn, Abs, Powers, etc., etc. They're all tied at 3 apiece. And then tied at 58th with 2 appearances apiece. Vita Von Star, Stephen Lust, Nolan Pierce, Mark Alexander, Stanley Dragowski, Joe Acasio, Nolo Catano, Jose B, Anthony Green, Max Caster, Pedro Dons, Brogan Finley, Jeff Cannonball, Matt Mikowski, Aaron Rourke, Kira, Ted Goods, Sawyer Rack, Rena Yamashita, Flip Gordon, Shannon Lavangi, Mike Bailey, Veda Scott, Eric Chacha, Delmi Exo, Hammer Tunis, Brian Malonis, Griffin McCoy, Victorious BRG, Brad Baylor, Steven Stetson, King Crab, Victor Chase, Julio Cruz, Brother Greatness, and Tyree Taylor. And then there's just, like I said, a bunch of people that close out the list, all tied with 1 appearance each, with names including Ali Catch, Joey Janela, Vinny Pacifico, Janai Kai, Kelsey Reagan, Notorious Mimi, Ava Everett, Billy Starks, Lindsay Dorado, Tracy Williams, Willow Nightingale, Ortiz, Becca, Atticus Kogar, Delirious, RSP, Cruel, Tremont, Gangrel, Skyros, Warhorse, etc., etc. So it's a long ass list, and I am more than proud to have been able to have seen so many people this year. Um, it's absolutely incredible the people that you meet, and as I said before, it's even cooler when they remember who you are from social media or from previous shows. One of my favorite meetings was when I got to meet Mike Bailey and Vita Scott at Fight Life, their second Connecticut show this year, or the second one that I went to. And so I got NJ Luke is here. Sup? Um, but yeah, when I met Mike and Vita, I got my picture with them. I was getting autographs with them, and I think Vita was the one that I think when I mentioned my name, Vita was the one that had the realization of realizing who it was, because I popped in on Mike's Twitch every now and again in the chat, and of course I've tagged him and stuff on Twitter and whatnot, or replied to them or what have you. So they recognized me from there, which was cool as hell. Um, so there's that. Um, you know, um, I think one of my favorite moments, and that's another thing. I don't even have any of this stuff. Like, there are like moments that I want to talk about that I don't even have written down because I didn't even do that list. But I'll get to them as well. But one of my favorite moments, at least when it comes to social media, was going into the Blitzkrieg Pro Luau. 35 millimeter Magic, who was then the defending Blitzkrieg Pro Tag Team Champions, took on Mutually Assured Destruction, that being Perry Von Vicious and Rip Bison. Now, I wanted Mutually Assured Destruction to win. And if you follow me on Twitter, you will see me talking shit with wrestlers, either to or with them. And it's all in good fun. That's how it's always been. I say this all the time. If I couldn't take it, I wouldn't dish it. It's all respect, it's all in good fun. And wrestlers have thrown it right back. And one of them is Angelo Carter, one half of 35 millimeter Magic, uh, who they and I talk some shit back and forth. And when 35 millimeter Magic retained the tag titles, after the show, I found Angelo and we traded some barbs a little bit. And then when I saw them again, or I seen him a couple more times after, but when I saw them at the last Blitzkrieg Pro show before this Sunday at Festival, when they lost the tag titles to Miracle Generation, which we'll get to that match in a little bit, um, Angelo sort of mentioned how, he enjoys, or sorry, how they enjoy talking shit with me or to me, so it's again, it's all in good fun. It's how it's always been. Um, and yeah, so there's that. But since we're on that topic, and since we've mentioned a couple of matches, I might as well get into the favorite matches list. And the thing about that is going through every single show that I went to this year. I I want to say like the initial list out of the I want to say maybe because again, I've been to 17 shows this year, and that's just across the Indies. If you count two WWE house shows and NXT Battleground, that's 20 shows in total. But of the 17 indie shows, I think every single one of them has at least one match that I wrote down, and it ended up getting to like 30, 50 something match, whatever. So I've had to cut this down, and it's hard because it is hard to rank this stuff. I to anybody that does this, I mean, they would understand it's hard to rank favorite matches and whatnot. I did my best. And again, this is my personal list. Some of these matches may not have been your favorites, but again, these were matches that I saw in person because I don't have Fight TV. I don't have IWTV. I haven't subscribed to them yet. I will at some point though. I will, but I haven't yet. So the only matches that I've seen are either in person or when watching on Monday nights on FV's Twitch, which go subscribe to their Twitch. But with that said, I have cut this list down to I have 18 matches listed here. And I it's more so just like the order of them. It's so hard. It's so arbitrary because in my opinion, all of these matches are so fucking good. Like, eh, if my friend Desiree was here, we'd probably break them down. Specifically ones that she has seen that I've also seen, whether she was in person or whatnot. Um, you could break them down and see why one might be better than the other. But for me, it's all vibes, man. It's all vibes. So, um, I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna name off some honorable mentions. Um, because again, there's just so fucking many. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just name off some honorable mentions because I think I'm gonna try to keep this to like the top 10 or so. Um, but across everything, across like all the shows that I've written down, um, you've got stuff like Jay Malachi against Carter Mason for the Catalyst Wrestling Freestyle title. Mason retained. That was fun, and congrats to Jay Malachi going to WWE. Him, Brogan Finley is another one. Him, Brogan Finley, and Lucky Ali. I got to see all three of them in person at least once. Brogan's the only one that I've seen more than once, and all three of them are so freaking cool. They're so fucking good, and I cannot wait to see them when they debut in WWE, most likely in NXT, especially Brogan, considering the fact of that he is one of Finley's kids. His brother is David Finley, who's in New Japan. So you have that. You have Even Stevens and Logan Black against the Shook Crew and Gangrel from the Saturday Retro World Gaming show for Blitzkrieg Pro. Meeting Gangrel and getting a picture with him and all this other stuff, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. And it also holds a little more weight because my dad was there. That's the first and so far only independent wrestling show that I've taken my dad to. And it meant a lot to have him there with me. And he got to sort of kind of, it was more for me than it was for him, but he got to see Gangrel, you know, and whatnot. Um, uh, what the hell else do I want to even mention, bro? Um, you've got Shook Crew against the Vaudevillains from Blitzkrieg Pro Fall Children. And TJ Crawford and Aaron Rourke from Blitzkrieg Pro Fall Back Down, which were the last two Blitzkrieg shows before Restival. Both of them are both matches were so much fun to watch. You got Stetson against Price for on Wrestling Open for the IWTV title from back in September, which I don't think I have amongst the 18 match because I have to stress this enough. It is so hard to rank these matches just in my mind because I don't know all the nuance. I don't know all the technical stuff. It's again for me, it's just vibes. And the vibes at every show for me are just immaculate. So again, it's hard. Another one I want to mention, Inagi Sayaka versus LaFisto at GCW Hartford. Yeah, Joey Shook Crew against Mutually Assured Destruction at Pro Wrestling Grind RPM Fest. That was Mutually Assured Destruction's last match before they went to Japan. They recently just got back. Um, it was fun. That Pro Wrestling Grind at RPM Fest was wild because I had never been to a music festival of any kind whatsoever. So to go to a wrestling show at a music festival, and mind you, I'm just there for the wrestling. I'm not there for the music. I'm there for the wrestling. Uh, so to be there and be amongst that crowd was something else for sure. And this was a hell of a match. It was weird. If there's one thing that kind of put me off on this, it was weird seeing Shook Crew as heels. Like, I mean, yes, Mutually Assured Destruction was going to be the baby faces for this match, being their last one before going to Japan. But it was just weird seeing Shook Crew as heels for this match when normally they're baby faces. I don't know. It didn't ruin it for me. It was just the vibe was weird, but it worked kind of somehow. Um what else do I want to mention? I mean, Ortiz and Ichiban and America Rana, Lloyd and Rec at GCW Hartford. Fucking Christ. There's just so much for me, man. There really is. But going off the list that I have, it's 18 matches long. It cut down from like 30. Um, let's just run right through it. So we'll go from 18 to 11 first, and then we'll just go through the top 10. So at 18, Effie versus Sanchana Jackson from GCW Hartford. 17, Sunny Kiss against Dirty Dango from Blitzkrieg Pro Fall Back Down. JT Dunn versus Marcus Mathers from Fight Life Answer to the King. 16, Swipe Right versus Miracle Generation for the IWTV tag titles at Wrestling Open 100. 15th, Mike Skyros versus Warhorse for the Grind Grand Championship at Pro Wrestling Grind at RPM Fest is 14th. Joey Janela versus Ichiban at Fight Life #1 is 13th. One called Manders versus Ichiban at Beyond Wrestling. This one was from back in October. I didn't write the name of it down because it's impossible to say and write. So, but that one is 12th. And then at 11, just outside the top 10, Blake Christian versus Alec Price for the GCW World Title at GCW Hartford earlier this month. Um, all of these matches were a lot of fun, and each one was different in its own way and how it sort of came to be. I mean, JT Dunn versus Mathers at Fight Life, their final show of the year. That one, that's a storyline that's been built up between them and Shannon Levangie and the unit, which is JT's crew, and whatnot. And it was interesting because going into it, you remember Desiree and I did the stream for that match, that week or previewing it. And I talked about how I had this feeling that Shannon, who was in a scramble match beforehand, I had this feeling that either she was going to show up during the match or after it and turn on Marcus. That didn't happen. Um, when I talked to Shannon and Marcus afterward, it seems like the beef is settled, and I think Marcus has gotten what he wanted. He took the loss, but what he got out of it was, he wanted the match with JT. He wanted to prove himself. Because Marcus is young as hell, and JT is a veteran, so he wanted that. He wanted to prove himself, and he did a hell of a job. So that was nice. Effie versus Santana. I mean, it's. I said it on Twitter. It's Effie's gay energy versus the spirit of Michael Jackson if he was a wrestler. That's what this is. And the whole match is just vibes and just you have to go watch it, man. It was so much fun. Um Skyros versus Warhorse. That when Warhorse called out Skyros, did he? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think didn't Warhorse call out Skyros for this match and then it got announced? If that, however it came to be, when this got announced, I was hype as hell because I've been following Warhorse, and through social media, through Twitter and whatnot, and it was so much fun seeing, his antics and whatnot. And if you watch the little promo video I did on Christmas Eve night, pardon me for a moment so I can grab my charger. But if you saw that video, I mentioned how I got to meet Warhorse then. Um, and of course, he's going into Restival with his career on the line, but we'll talk about that later in the week. Warhorse came into this match against Skyros. It was a hell of a showing. It made you believe that Warhorse might win. Skyros ended up retaining his title, but like I said, it was a lot of fun to watch. Janela versus Ichiban. Janela as a person is polarizing as hell because he has his fans, he has his haters. And then again, that's a lot of people in wrestling. But as a wrestler, I cannot deny the fact that he is damn good at what he does. And obviously, this is the only time I've seen him in person. This was the first time that I got to see Ichiban in person, and before I knew that he was Wrestling Open champion, before any of that. So, when this match happened, and this was my second independent wrestling show ever that I'd gone to. When this match happened, go watch it. Go watch because these two just went at it, just all over the fucking place. It was insane. Just a lot of high flying, a lot of incredible maneuvers. It was so much fun to watch. Sonny versus Dango at Blitzkrieg, that was just that was something special. It was originally supposed to be a number one contenders match for Andy Brown's Blitzkrieg Bedlam title. Unfortunately, Andy had gotten hurt at a previous wrestling show, and unfortunately, that injury ended up forcing him to relinquish the belt. So, new champion will be crowned this weekend. Again, we will talk about that later in the week. Um, but this match still happened, and it was so much goddamn fun. It really was. Swipe Right and Miracle Gen. That's a feud that had been going on for a little bit with Wrestling Open. Culminated in a Chairs Are Legal match at Open 100. And Swipe Right, I think Brad, I'm going to be honest. I think Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes both could have a breakout 2024. They're young, they're really freaking good. And they got taken to the limit against Miracle Gen. Miracle Gen retained, of course, but they got taken to the fucking limit. And it was a lot of fun. Um, and then again, like with Janela against Ichiban, Manders versus Ichiban at Beyond Wrestling in the cold, that was fun. Getting to see Manders for the first time in person. If you watch the entrance short, when I recorded it, um Manders comes out to Wanted Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi, which, if you know, that's the theme song to Deadliest Catch. And I grew up on that show with my dad. So um, of course I did my best to sing it, to a point when Manders came out. That was a lot of fun. And then Christian against Price. That That was amazing. I wanted Price to win. Blake ended up winning, but he got his ass kicked afterward by Price and Just Incredible, which was a lot of fun. But the match itself was absolutely insane. And people talk about how, or I've seen people talk about how they're surprised that Price hasn't gotten looked at for an ROH appearance, or maybe an AEW appearance or something. Which is why I wish AEW still had Dark and Elevation, because I think you would have seen him on there a couple of times by now. But either way, Alec, I'm hoping Alec is able to walk out of Restival still the IWTV champion, because he fucking deserves to, and I can't wait to see what 2024 brings for him, because he's a hell of a competitor, and I might be biased about that, but I do not give a fuck. Price is awesome, and he deserves the best, and I cannot wait to see what next year brings for him. Now, with that being said, let's get into the top 10. This is going to be fun. Let's just say that. And that's the thing with this top 10, there are a couple of matches that are from the same show, but in terms of shows, there's some variety here. And we start at number 10 with Young, Dumb, and Broke. This being Jordan Oliver, Charlie Tiger, and Ellis Taylor against Sammy Diaz, Dustin Waller, and Ichiban from the Blitzkrieg Pro Luau. It was originally supposed to be the Miracle Ones, being Miracle Gen and Ichiban, but Kylon King was injured, so actually, that's how I know where the discrepancy comes from, because of that. But with that said, Sammy Diaz took Kylon's place, and I mean, come on, bro. This When you have multiple high flyers in this match, along with an absolute bruiser in Charlie Tiger, I mean, you're bound to get something incredible, and it was so much fun. I remember um they had a couple of dives to the outside, um or moves to the outside at one point towards the end of the match, and one they landed pretty close to me. I think it might have been, I think if I remember correctly, it might have been Sammy Diaz, like his leg grazed against mine. So I felt somebody's sweat on my leg. I know that much. But it was incredible, and a lot of fun to watch. Go check out all these matches, man. There are more that I could mention. But just go check out all these matches because they're all fucking incredible, one way or the other. And I think you'll find enjoyment in every single one of them. And speaking of Sammy Diaz, number 9 on this list, Sammy Diaz versus Akira, Blitzkrieg Pro, Fall Back Down. Oh my God. This was awesome. And, Sammy's going into Restival, sponsored by me for his Blitzkrieg Pro appearance, of course. I get to mention that. But he's going into that show to face Kevin Blackwood. And again, we'll talk about that more later in the week, but um I did a whole freaking promo for that. Go check it out. And I stand by what I said in there. Kevin needs to be ready and he needs to be able to keep the fuck up because Sammy's going to run circles around him otherwise. I am so fucking excited for Sammy Diaz because I also said in that video, whoever wins the Bedlam title on that night, they're going to have to worry about him. They're going to have to worry about Sammy Diaz. And I'm going to make this prediction now. And mind you, Andy Brown will come back from his injury at some point, and I know he's going to go after his title to try to get it back because he never lost it. But my bold prediction, and it's not really bold because I think, if you know, this is how it should be. Sammy Diaz will be Blitzkrieg Pro Bedlam champion by the end of 2024. I hope so, at least. I think he will. I have confidence that he will. I think he'll get it done. So whoever wins it on Sunday night, you better be prepared. But this match was a lot of fun. Made even better by the fact of that I also got to meet Akira's dog Coda, which is, oh my God, Coda is so fucking cute. The cutest and the goodest of dogs. If you ever get to meet Coda, do it. I know it's a dog, but dogs are cool, okay? And Akira's dog is cool. But yeah, this was a big match for Sammy taking on Akira. There is actually some history between them. They used to train together when they were coming up in the independents and early in their careers. And it had been the first time that they had been in the ring together for a long time. And they did not disappoint whatsoever. It was so much goddamn fun to watch. So go watch that one. And going from one match between two competitors that really wanted to face each other, and especially one looking to continue to prove himself, we have another instance of that. Number 8, Dustin Waller versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Fight life down with the quickness. Dustin said it himself in a promo that he posted to his socials before this show. This show is basically named after him and Speedball. Because again, it's Speedball Mike Bailey, and Dustin's nickname is Flash, which every now and again you'll hear me in the crowd saying, Flash, savior. You get the gist. But this match main evented this show. And it was incredible. It was a lot of fun. Mike, and I believe Mike ended up winning, but he applauded Dustin afterward. He cut a promo, applauding Dustin for the match that he gave. Gave him some words of wisdom and whatnot. And that's just how cool Mike is. Like he's just fucking cool, man. They both are. If you've seen a Speedball match before, you know what you're in for. He will break you. If you take Speedball's knees to your back, your spine's gonna be screaming at you. The kicks, just the movement. The dude can move, man, but so can Dustin. And they went at it. They basically matched each other step for step for a lot of that match. And it was incredible to watch. And I'm so glad that it happened. And who knows, man? Whenever they get to face each other again, It's going to be just as awesome, I think, at least. So now we have our first title match in the top 10. Number 7, Rocky Romero versus Colby Corino for Colby's NWA Junior Heavyweight title at Catalyst Wrestling back in September. Now, fun little fact, or maybe not so fun, I guess. This was the last show that Catalyst Wrestling has done as of this stream. They've been posting stuff from that show in recent weeks, but from what I've seen, apparently shit went down at a previous show and it's got the New York State Commission involved and it's a fucking mess. But that being said, um I went to this Catalyst show for one major reason, and that was to meet Kid Bandit, who was supposed to be there to face Masha Slamovich and Vita Von Star to crown the first ever Catalyst Wrestling Women's Champion. However, Kid got injured, couldn't make it. And I debate when that got announced, I was upset, because this was the second time that I'd had a chance to meet Kid. The first time, I didn't even go to the show because I didn't have a car to go, and it was also in my home state, so it hurt a little more. Um, and so when I saw Kid get announced for this, I made it. I made it clear to myself I was gonna get the day off. I was gonna go to New York, and I was gonna go to the show. I still went, even though Kid wasn't there. I still ended up going, and I'm glad I did. It. I was there a lot earlier than I probably needed to be, but that's for reasons. And I waited, in the rain, and whatnot until showtime. But I'm so glad I went, and I'm so glad I was there, because there was a lot of awesome matches on that card. I also wanted. There's another match from that show that's on this list that we'll get to shortly. Um, but I didn't have the Vita Masha match listed. I probably should have, so I apologize for that. That was an incredible match. Again, Romero versus Carino. Um, what's another one that I'm thinking of? O'Shea Edwards against Ghost Shadow was a lot of fun to watch. Um, go check this show out as they upload their stuff. Um, but yeah, Romero versus Carino was a lot of fun. Bonus points to Ring of Honor legend Julius Smokes. He just popped up out of nowhere during this match and was talking all kinds of shit. And I promise you, if when this man was wiling, and he had me laughing from the shit he was saying. It was insane. But yeah, go check this match out. It was a lot of fun to watch. Um, yeah. uh, and it was interesting, because this, of course, is the first time that I've seen an NWA title get defended at any sort of show. I actually had an opportunity to go to an NWA show this year because they were following some music groups tour over the summer, and they made a stop here in New Hampshire. I remember texting my dad about it, and I contemplated going. I just never did. So there's that. But next up on the list, number 6, and bro, one way or the other, Miracle Generation, they're gonna pop up a few more times on this list as we get into the top 5. But so spoiler for that. But number 6, Miracle Generation versus Masha Slamovich and Rina Yamashita from GCW Hartford earlier this month, back on December 2nd. And um, this was Miracle Generation's first match together in GCW. From what my friend Desiree told me, Dustin has made appearances in GCW before, but only by himself. He's never wrestled with Kylon. So this was the first time that the two of them had wrestled together in GCW. And who else do you get your first match in GCW in as a tag team than Masha Slamovich and Rina Yamashita, who not that long ago actually had gone to war against each other. I believe main eventing one of GCW shows at Korakuen Hall in Japan. I've seen pictures, I've seen clips from that match. It is brutal. Um, but yeah, this match was nuts. Just the spots, the table stuff, I literally joked during the match when Rena and Masha started pulling chairs. I'm like, come on, they've dealt with enough chairs this week because it was the same week as their match at Open 100, the chairs are legal match with Swipe Right. So this was so much fun to watch. Masha and Rena ended up winning, which fair enough. But like, holy hell, man! Like, this was wild. It was wild on so many levels. And that's actually speaking of Rena and speaking of Kylon, from that Fight Life Down with the Quickness show, that Waller and Bailey main evented, I also want to mention shout out Kylon King versus Rina Yamashita, which was a surprise because it was supposed to be Kylon versus Mortar. Mortar was out with injury, so Fight Life ended up announcing Rena for this show. And I remember taking a picture, or I texted Desiree about it, and she's like, "Where did you see that?" And then I took a picture of the tweet and I sent it to her, and I'm like, "They just tweeted it." Genuine surprise. Um, Rena is the GCW Ultra Violent Champion, I believe is what that title is called. So it was a lot of fun to see her. And her and Kylon put on a hell of a match. The thing that kind of docks it a little bit is Mortar ended up interfering, causing the DQ, which then led to Mortar versus Ichiban at Answer to the King in an Anything Goes match, which also deserves a mention because that match was fucking brutal. Um, again, if I could go through all the matches I've seen this year, we'd be going on for quite a while. I'll tell you that much. But again, it's hard to do this stuff. All right. But yeah, um, Miracle Jen, Masha, Rena, they put on a hell of a match. And again, that whole GCW Hartford show was wild, man. That was so much fun. But with that said, we now jump into the top 5. And we're going to talk about two people that we just got done talking about in the last couple of matches. Number 5, Mike Bailey versus Masha Slamovich, Fight Life World Championship match from Fight Life Answer to the King. Bro, this was nuts. For the final Fight Life of 2023, this match did not disappoint in the slightest. Um, there were times during this match where I thought Mike might actually beat Masha. Hell, it got to a point where they knock out one ref, another ref shows up, while a third ref has to check on the first one. It got to a point where DQ gets called, and then the DQ decision is reversed. The match continues. Masha ends up winning, and then Masha cuts an incredibly passionate promo afterward, talking about the year that was for Fight Life, the year that was for her as Fight Life's champion. I believe their inaugural champion, mind you. And just looking forward to 2024, and I'm looking forward to 2024. I cannot wait. They've already announced their first show of 2024. That'll be in Rehoboth, Mass. I will not be there because, look, I like to travel, but I can't travel to everything. I wish, but I can't. But that being said, again, Bailey and Masha, hell of a fucking match. They put on a heater, man. They really did. Going to number 4 now. We go back to Catalyst Wrestling from back in September. Darius Carter versus Homicide. No championship, not no stipulation, just a independent legend against arguably one of, if not maybe the best independent wrestling heel that you could possibly find. This was nuts. First of all, it is incredible to get to see a legend like Homicide in person. Because he's been doing this for fucking forever, man. He really has been. He's been everywhere. So to get to see him at this show was a lot of fun for me. And him and Darius Carter just went the fuck at it. It was brutal. Um, and again, when I say Darius is one of the best heels on the independents, I mean that. You look at his body of work, you look at all the work that he's done. Um, you know, I recently kind of sort of pushed to maybe, hopefully, one day get Carter versus Alec Bryce for the IWTV title. And Carter literally like responded back, talking about how, he's the guy that promotions protect others from because they know what Darius brings and they know that, what he can do. And, and that might just be heel speak, but I think there could be some validity to it. He's fucking incredible. He really is. And he's one of the top heels out there. You can say Matt Cardona is probably the top heel. Yeah. I I think it's either him or Darius, to be honest with you. It's one or the other. Um, so yeah. Again, go watch this match. It was a lot of fun. Um, and and then you had the beatdown afterward. You know, Darius having a couple of his people beating down Homicide after the match. Julius Smokes came back out to try to help. He got his ass whooped. It was something, man. Um, so then at number 3, we have the best hoes, Becca and Aaron Rourke versus Miracle Generation for the IWTV tag titles from Beyond Wrestling America Rana. Holy fucking shit. And you know what? I'm just gonna throw this out there as well. Number 2 on this list, Miracle Generation versus 35mm Magic for the IWTV and Blitzkrieg Pro tag titles unification match from Blitzkrieg Pro Fall Back Down. There's a reason why Miracle Gen has multiple matches on this list, and there are probably other ones that I've seen this year. You know, let me put it to you this way. Miracle Generation, whether it's as a tag team or as individuals, wrestling separately, they're both absolutely incredible. And both of these matches, I think of all of the matches that I've seen this year, I think these two are the best tag matches that I've seen this year. Um, I think that across the board, they might be two of the best matches overall, like in all of 2023, not just like in the New England area, but just like in general. You can argue with me on that one, but I I think there's some validity to both. The Miracle Gen versus 35mm Magic match holds a little more weight for two reasons. One, it's a tag title unification match. Holy shit. And two, because as wrestling lore goes, Miracle Generation used to be Blitzkrieg Pro Tag Team Champions, and they lost the titles to 35mm Magic due to interference, I believe, by Young, Dumb, and Broke, from what Desiree told me. And she might, if she sees this, she might correct me later, but if I remember correctly, that's what happened. And Kylon even mentioned it, um, at the show before this one, when this match got announced. So, I mean, go watch them both, man. They're both incredible. Um, Miracle Gen versus Best Hose was, Jesus fucking Christ, man. It's hard to describe. You legitimately just have to go watch. Um, both matches are different in the way that they work out and some of the tactics that get used and whatnot. But Mir- let me put it to you this way: Miracle Gen versus Best Hose was just two incredible tag teams going at it, beating the shit out of each other, uh, and just hey DJ, what's up? Just two tag teams just going at it, beating the hell out of each other, and just putting on a show stealing match that I think, if not for the match that's sitting at number one on this list, this one might have been the best one of the whole damn Americarana show. And again, that's a match with that's a show that includes Ichiban and Ortiz, uh Sawyer Rack and Cruel, which was its own brand of wild. The whole freaking wedding between Love Doug and LMK that ended up boiling down to LMK turning on Doug and getting married to Sydney Bacabella and whatnot. Jesus Christ, that was wild. But um, DJ's not much, just eating an apple fritter on my lunch break. How you? I'm just talking about independent wrestling, man. Just talking about stuff I got to see this year. But as I said, Bad Toes versus Miracle Generation, go watch it. Miracle Gen versus 35 millimeter Magic, go watch it. I think the best way to describe that one is you have two tag teams, history between them, beef between them, going at it, both teams trying to retain their titles and take the titles away from the other. And it ended up boiling down to 35 millimeter. Jesus Christ. It got boiled down to 35 millimeter Magic just got beat at their own game when it comes to their heel tactics. They got beat at it. Miracle Gen 1. It was on Dustin's birthday, so that adds a little bit more to it. Um, and yeah, again, both matches were incredible. They truly, truly were. But number one on this list, um, in a match where the finish and the outcome is my pick for the greatest moment, not just for Beyond Wrestling this year, but for independent wrestling, like in general, especially in the Northeast. Um, and that is from Beyond Wrestling Americarana, Alec Price versus Matt Tremont for the IWTV Championship. Troy Cock, sup? Or Coke, Coke, however you pronounce that. Hello. If you're new, make sure to like, subscribe, and all that. Um, but yeah, number one of my favorite independent matches that I saw live and in person this year, Alec Price versus Matt Tremont for the IWTV title. Tremont walking in as the champion. Um, it was a war. It was a fucking war. Um, it the Sawyer Wreck versus Cruel had gone on before this match, and seeing uh I think Sawyer got put through a table, you had chairs involved, so that it it was a match that Troy, to answer your question, no, I am not from Ohio. Um I am from New Hampshire. So there you go. But yeah, Sawyer Wreck versus Cruel kind of prepared me a little bit, but what I saw in this match was not necessarily anything I was expecting. They brought out the gusset plates, you had freaking taped up forks, you had a bunch of stuff. And like I said, it was a fucking war. And um the climax of the match, Price lining up to hit his finisher, Tremont looking at him and just saying, just it's your time, do it. Um, Alec stomping on the back of Tremont's head, I think, which was on top of a cinder block or something. And then him pinning Tremont, winning the match, winning the title. Oh my fucking god. That is an incredible moment. And Alec truly deserved it. And that visual afterward of Price, being backed by Tremont and other people in the locker room when Cruel came out holding his title, because a little bit of a lesson here from what I was told, Cruel was champion, got injured. I think Tremont, from what I was told, Tremont won the belt, and then it ended up going to Alec this summer, but Cruel still holds on to his, and he calls himself the real champion. Um, so Beyond Wrestling, Heavy Lies the Crown on Sunday night. We're gonna get to see Price versus Cruel. Although Cruel got arrested at the last Uncharted Territory show uh for for this year. That's the whole thing. It just and then you have Tremont getting turned into Killdozer by Cruel after after a match that they had late in October, and just the aftermath. Oh, there is so much that I have to discuss with that I also kind of need to learn on. But the point of all of that is Price versus Tremont, easily my most favorite match of the year that I got to see. Just for the crowning of Price as champion, the top it's the IWTV title. It's the top championship in the Northeast. Yes, it is known as a world. It's labeled as a world title. And Price, he defends it largely up here in the Northeast. He's defended it a couple of places down south, and whatnot. And just, I'm so excited for what 2024 will bring for Price. I really am. Um, and I'm hoping that at some point he'll get a look from WWE or AEW or Impact or somebody to bring him to that next level, because I really think he deserves it. Um, but yeah, incredible stuff, just absolutely incredible. Um, I've had so much fun this year, and like I said, after this weekend, with 4 different shows that I'm going to for Festival. This list is probably going to change. I mean, hell, I feel like I need to evaluate the list and add more matches and move stuff around. So who knows? But I cannot wait for Festival, and I cannot wait to see what 2024 will bring. So with all of that being said, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will catch you all next time. Peace.